This is Jed Disler, and welcome to the Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. Many years ago, I owned a set of 3 LPs, vinyl LPs, on the EMI label's budget line, Seraphim Records. And this 3 LP set consisted of Franz Schubert's complete waltzes, played by the Italian pianist Paolo Bordoni, who was born in Bergamo in 1942, and he passed away in 2022 at the age of 80. And by all accounts, he was a very inspiring teacher and supportive colleague to those who knew him. I never knew him, but I knew these delightful Schubert waltz recordings, and I never thought that they would ever turn up on compact disc. But in fact, the whole cycle came out in a budget-priced 2-disc set, 2 for the price of 1 reissue on EMI. And these discs also were available as part of a Schubert Collector's Edition box set on EMI that contained 50 compact discs. Anyway, this is a release that is well worth trying to source. Now, you may not want to listen to all 138 Schubert waltzes in one single sitting, as some critics are bound to do, for the simple reason that 2.5 hours of short pieces in triple meter and in mostly binary form can probably drive anyone nuts. However, if you take these pieces in relatively small doses, you will absolutely delight in the melodic turns of phrase and the striking harmonies that always remind you of why Schubert is so hard to resist. And I find it hard to resist Paolo Bordoni's crisp articulation and his true stylish flair and obvious affection for these unpretentious gems, and he just plays them very simply and beautifully, although he does inflect the repeats with very subtle changes in rubato and dynamics, and he does so without sounding predictable about it. And he also lavishes a lot of care over ornaments, but he does so without being fussy at all. I really, really love these performances. So if you can find the CDs anywhere, or if you can find this release on download and streaming platforms, I highly, highly recommend it. By the way, Paolo Bordoni also recorded a really lovely LP of Schubert's sonatas for the EMI label, which includes the 2 completed movements of Schubert's C major sonata with the Deutsch number 840, the so-called Reliquie or Reliquie. I don't know how you pronounce that. It has that nickname. And this disc has never been reissued in any format, so far as I know, although there is a transfer of the Deutsch 840 Sonata on YouTube from a slightly scratchy LP copy. I've posted a link to it so you can hear it. I hope it will be reissued, and I hope that these Schubert waltzes will come back into very accessible circulation. I'm very happy to have this cycle in my collection, and as I said, I love Paolo Bordoni's relaxed and unpressured, yet always deeply musical and sensitive stylizations of the Schubert waltzes. This is Jed Disler, and you've been listening to the Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings, and I look forward to being with you for our next episode.